One of the worst Rumble pay-per-views of all time, in my opinion, of course. I'm John Renton with the retro review of WWE Royal Rumble 2006. And why do I say that? The Rumble match wasn't even second to last. There were two championship matches, one that would barely qualify as a Raw main event, and one that would barely qualify as a main event of fucking Velocity. That's how bad it was. Those two championship matches had no business going on after the Rumble match, which wasn't even all that good. Now, there were some good moments in this show, but this really felt like just a B-level pay-per-view. It did not feel like one of the big four, Rumble, SummerSlam, Mania, Survivor Series. It just felt like just another show. And I don't know what the fuck was going on with this. It just seemed so oddly formatted. There were some good storylines in the Rumble, but really, overall, this fucking show was kind of shitty. And they just undercut Ray as far as a main eventer, and I never cared for Ray being in the main event, even though I knew he had the talent for it. The storyline wasn't all that good. Fans started to turn on him because of the whole thing of doing it for Eddie, and then it became a crutch. Like, Ray couldn't stand on his own. I mean, that was because he had surgery 5 times in his left knee, and if you get that reference, you've been watching wrestling as long as I have. But a lot of this show just felt like it was just there. They were in Miami, 16,000 fans. The dark match, by the way, was Finlay beating Brian Kendrick. Good stuff there. Cole and Taz called the SmackDown action. Styles and Lawler called the Raw action. We have a 6-way, tornado rules, Cruiserweight Championship open. And it's open to all former Cruiserweight champions. So you had Gregory Helms that jumped from Raw to SmackDown. And he would end up winning this. It was, the other guys were Kid Cash, who had a busted arm, but was also the champion and was fighting through it. Funaki, Jamie Noble, Nunzio, and Paul London. The entrances were like 4 minutes, combined, and that was roughly half the time of this match. It was very much a car crash, WCW Nitro, or even a WCW opening, pay-per-view opening match, where it was just car crash with not a lot of psychology. There was some good work, don't get me wrong. This was probably the closest to WCW that they would capture before they would pretty much dismantle the Cruiserweight division, because Hornswoggle would be the last champion. And then somehow they would do worse by having TJP become the, the new Cruiserweight champion in 2016. But anyway, I digress. This match wasn't bad. Helms would get the victory, as he should have. I mean, and he would go on to have a 13-month reign. But a lot of this match was just like, oh, move, we'll get some near falls, we'll get some stuff. Hey guys, let's just hit some moves. It was fine. But it could have opened SmackDown. That's the thing about it. This didn't feel like a pay-per-view opener. Now, it was quick, at least. They didn't go like 15, 20 minutes. But also, at the same time, when you're just hitting moves for the sake of moves, yeah, there's a bit of a problem getting invested in this. So good on Helms for winning and having a pretty dominant run after that. And then we have Vince telling Teddy that he's got this. He'll handle the stuff of the wrestlers selecting their numbers and the balls, because Victoria, Candice, and Tori Wilson are handling the balls. This is what they reduced Victoria to, who was one of the Godfather's hoes, got taken out, went down to OVW and trained, had a hell of a feud with Trish, had a match with Molly Holly at Mania 20, where Molly got her head shaved. That's how dedicated Molly was to the business. She wanted to get her head shaved just to get the championship match, women's championship match rather, on the Mania 20 card. Because they had so many matches that shouldn't have been on there, we didn't have anything for the goddamn women. At least that's what Creative was saying, or Vince was saying. Or who the fuck knows who said that, but the bottom line is the women deserve better. Anyway, yeah, all the women are playing with the balls here. Orton and Triple H picked their numbers. And Orton's happy with his. Triple H is like, oh, he's not happy with his. Orton is 30 and Triple H is 1, by the way. And then Mickey is talking to Trish, because they were doing this thing where Mickey was kind of an obsessed fan, but at first she was just a fan of Trish. Now it was obvious she was an obsessed fan. And they really had something with this fucking storyline of Mickey getting violently in love and upset with Trish at the same time, becoming obsessed and everything. They really had something. And then after Mania 22, pretty much like a month later, Mickey was just another talent. It's a shame, because they really did have something going here, and this could have carried Mickey throughout the rest of the year. But now, Vince was upset that Mickey grabbed Trish's Stratosphere on pay-per-view, despite the fact that Vince had done way worse things on pay-per-view. He continued a pay-per-view after a guy died. But, Mickey grabbing Trish's Stratosphere is just so fucking bad. That's too far, pal. And I know it was a Ruthless Aggression era, but goddamn. You can't fucking tell me that's the worst thing and that's something Vince should have gotten upset by. Hell, you would have thought Vince would have gotten his genetic jackhammer off on that. Have fun on seeing that, by the way, guys. So, Mickey's talking to Trish. Oh, I know you're the referee for this match, but I just want to tell you I love you. Wait, how do you mean I love you? Their commentary is wondering, what the fuck is going on? Mickey versus Ashley Mazzaro, Trish as the ref. Is all right. Ashley got a Raw deal in WWE. She had the leg. I don't remember if this is when she had the leg injury or she got the leg injury right after. But she was just shoved out there without much training. She tried hard, and her and Mickey did treat it like a fight. I will give them that. But this was just a few seconds longer, by the way, than the Cruiserweight Championship 6-way. And I think that if they had given Ashley a little bit more training, this probably would have been better. I mean, rest in peace, Ashley Mazzaro. It's terrible what happened to her, the whole military, tribute to the troops thing. And, oh, no, you can't say anything, Ashley, because it'll ruin our relationship with the military. Forget the fact that she got, basically violated and everything. Her human rights got violated by somebody that wanted to just, take advantage of her because they were a piece of goddamn shit that hopefully is rotting in hell or at least has karma coming to them for what they fucking did. But no, I actually can't say anything because that would ruin the relationship with the troops. They could have just fucking... they just could have handled this a whole lot goddamn better. Nobody should have to go through that fucking shit. Anyway, they got this match that was okay, and then it was more about the tension between Mickey and Trish. Giggity. And then a roll-up hesitation from Trish, but she did count 3. Mickey celebrating, oh, I love you, all this kind of stuff and everything. It was what it was, but it wasn't great. We think it's showing Ray picking their numbers. Eddie, you got me, because Ray's number 2. Then JBL with Jillian Hall, without the mole on her face because the boogeyman had bitten the mole off her face. It was just some weird, I don't know what the fuck it was, but it was just some weird thing. Anyway, the boogeyman bit that off, and JBL facing the boogeyman. The entrances were 3 times as long as the actual match. The actual match was like 2 minutes. Because to be fair, the boogeyman, and I love the boogeyman, I'm not knocking him. He wasn't a wrestler, he was a character. He was a great athlete. And in incredible shape for, at the time, I think he was 42. And, he's in great shape now, proving that genetics, really can carry you pretty damn far. But, yeah, he gets the win. He traumatizes Jillian by dropping worms in her mouth. Jillian really cut a raw fucking deal, too. I'm not saying Jillian was a world beater, but good lord, they gave her a bad karaoke gimmick. They gave her this mole thing. What the fuck? Man, anyway, then, so yeah, JBL loses to the boogeyman. JBL, by the way, the year before, successfully defended the WWE Championship in a 3-way. And that's where he was at this point. Shelton, to be fair, though, JBL's a goddamn idiot, so really, who fucking cares? Goddamn piece of shit. Shelton and his mama pick his number, and then she scolds him and takes him away because Melina's flirting with him. Because, that mama character... That wasn't a very good idea. I don't think the woman really enjoyed it, and it didn't do anything for Shelton. Eminem say they'll eliminate Shawn. Shelton also said he'll eliminate Shawn because Vince McMahon wanted to make Shawn Michaels' life a living hell. I screwed Brett, Shawn, don't make me screw you. And if you believe the stories, just going to leave it right there. Spirit Squad interrupt Lillian. How did Ziggler survive that, I wonder? Here is the Rumble match. Triple H at 1, Ray at 2. They lasted an hour roughly. I think Triple H was just an hour and a few seconds. Ray was 62 minutes, they said. Simon Dean Psychosis at 3 and 4. Flair at 5 to a huge pop because Triple H had taken him out. Flair was the current Intercontinental Champion, despite being off TV for 60 days. Because 30-day rule, what's that? We'll only implement it when we want to. Big Show at 6. Coach at 7. Lashley and Kane at 8 and 9. Triple H does the Shawn Michaels 96 spot that Michaels did with Yokozuna and Vader, dumps them out. And he does it, by the way, with Kane and Big Show. Carlito at 11, he lasts a while. Benoit at 12 immediately goes after Carlito, targeting a wrestler's kid he was practicing for 18 months later. And Booker at 13, out at 13, and then out immediately, 18 seconds later. Mercury at 14, 29 minutes. Tatanka, of all people, returning for 14 minutes. A very bizarre return. And he was there. They went with like some kind of heel turn later in the year. And all these vignettes and everything. He showed up. I think he was going to feud with Lashley, and then that was it. He got released from his contract. think he asked. It was just so weird. And then Johnny Nitro, now John Morrison at 16, he lasts 25 minutes. We got Murdoch at 17. Eugene lasted a bit. I don't know why. Animal at number 19, he was out 3 minutes. RVD at 20, he was back from a knee injury that kept him out pretty much a whole year. Orlando Jordan at 21. Orlando Jordan had a very, very odd career. He actually had a decent length run as U.S. champion, and I can't tell you one thing about it. Matt at 23. Super Crazy at 24. By the way, I want to say that Lashley and Shelton apparently are immortals because they don't age. They look exactly the same. Super Crazy even, looks really goddamn good 15 years later. Saw him at an indie show in 2019. A few indie shows. Really nice guy. Sean at 25. Then we get Chris Masters at 26. They had to cut the pyro botch. Viscera at 27. He dry humps Matt Hardy because Matt Hardy had done this thing where when Undertaker made his return. This is the rumor, by the way. I don't know if it's actually true, but it does add up. When Undertaker made his return at Survivor Series 2005 and laid waste to everybody, Matt Hardy got out of the ring instead of taking a bump like he was supposed to, for whatever reason. If that's to be believed, that explains why Matt Hardy got squashed by JBL at Armageddon the next month, and why he got dry humped here by Viscera. And then Shelton at 28, Goldust at 29, making a shocking return, and Orton at 30. Eliminations fly, and Eminem and Shelton taken out by Shawn. Vince's music hits. He doesn't tear both his quads like he did the year before. Shane sneaks up, tosses Shawn Michaels out, and then Shawn goes after Shane, despite the fact Vince was right there and he could have just super kicked him. Vince said he was going to make Shawn's life a living hell, and then Vince is just like, oh no, go after him. He's the one that did. I didn't say anything. Why would you think that, Shawn? So then it's down to Orton, RVD, Ray, and Triple H. Then down to Ray and Orton. Triple H had taken out Ray, beating him up on the steps, or slammed him into the steps. And then Ray ends up eliminating Orton and gets a huge pop. Should have been closing the show, but it wasn't. Then we get an exclusive from WWE.com. Mickey and Trish, more awkwardness. It was going to build to the match at Mania 22. One of my favorite matches of Mania history, by the way, because it was great for the crowd reaction. Ray celebrates with Benoit, Dean, and Chavo, and then Edge interrupts and mocks him. And then Cena gets a big old, spacewalk with pyro and glitter and everything and all that. Edge gets his smoke-filled entrance and proceeds to lose to Cena in a blasé. It wasn't even a bad match. It was just one. It was probably the worst match of their feud because Edge cashed in at New Year's Revolution and then lost just 3 weeks later. Now Edge would continue to ascend and he would become champion again, but it just felt like they fucking just kind of destroyed this. Yes, they would have Edge go on and feud with Mick Foley at Mania 22, and that was a terrific match. It just, they kind of wrote themselves into a corner here. But Cena managed to get the STF for the win. Cool, whatever. Angle versus Henry. Why was this the main event? Why was this the main event? Look at the main event of the 1988 Rumble and, tell me that that was actually a worse main event than this. I believe it was the Islanders versus, the Young Stallions, I believe, in a 2 out of 3 falls match. Or maybe that was 89. The whole point is they had a main event there, and that's what it was. That's what they did. This was worse. Angle did everything he could to carry Mark Henry. He ref bump at one point. He used a chair a few times, and eventually would get a roll-up, the most devastating maneuver in all of professional wrestling. Surprise roll-up, 1, 2, 3, and then would hold the ropes. And Mark Henry seemingly disappeared. By the way, why were they calling Mark Henry the Silverback at one point? That wasn't racist. It was really fucking bad. And then Undertaker's music hits. And Undertaker proceeds to do, that's all I gotta say about that, proceeds to do the lightning and the spoopiness, and then the ring collapses. Here's what you could have done. Have the Rumble match on last. Save the lightning strike, ring collapse shit to hook people at the end of the next SmackDown. And there you go. But nope. They fucked it all up, and it was fucking goddamn shit. Anyway, agree, disagree with what I said, like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Retlin. I'll see you soon.